Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Acting AG, I actually wanted to ask you some questions regarding what you did prior to being Acting AG. It's my understanding that before you moved to the Department of Justice, that you were the Executive Director of the Foundation for Accountability and Civic and Trust.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order. Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Chairman, I have
fact
a point
is a
of order.
conservative ethics watchdog where he
order.
made full use of the opportunity to call for investigations of multiple Democrats.
The gentleman will state his point of order.
My point of order by the very statement from the gentlelady is outside the scope of an oversight investigative hearing on the Department of Justice.
It is not. You need to let me finish my question and you'll see what I was asking.
The gentlelady will suspend. That is not a valid point of order. The gentlelady will continue.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a point of order, Rule pursuant 10 of the House rules, that the question is outside the scope of...
The gentlelady has the floor.
Are you just going to overrun a point of order?
Yeah, because you're
pointing out my point of order.
The gentlelady will suspend. I ruled that it was not a valid point of order, and the gentlelady has the floor. The gentlelady will continue.
Thank you.
I was not through with my point of order.
The gentlelady will continue.
Fill the ruling of the chair.
Move to table.
I move to table.
Motion to table the appeal of the ruling of the chair is before the committee. Motion to table is not debatable. The clerk will call the roll. One moment while we set up the clerk. Wait, slow down.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a unanimous consent request while we're waiting for this vote? No. Karen, since when is the bias of a witness not relevant to anything?
I was going to...
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman votes aye. Ms. Lofgren. Ms. Jackson-Lee. Ms. Jackson-Lee votes aye. Mr. Cohen. Mr. Cohen votes aye. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Deutsch. Mr. Deutsch votes aye. Ms. Bass. Ms. Bass votes aye. Mr. Richmond. Mr. Richmond votes aye. Mr. Jeffries. Mr. Jeffries votes aye. Mr. Cicilline. Mr. Cicilline votes aye. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Swalwell votes aye. Mr. Liu. Mr. Raskin. Mr. Raskin votes aye. Ms. Jayapal. Ms. Demings. Ms. Demings votes aye. Mr. Correa. Mr. Correa votes aye. Ms. Scanlon. Ms. Scanlon votes aye. Ms. Garcia. Ms. Garcia votes aye. Mr. Neguse. Mr. Neguse votes aye. Ms. McBath. Ms. McBath votes aye. Mr. Stanton.
Aye.
Mr. Stanton votes aye. Ms. Dean.
Aye.
Ms. Dean votes aye. Ms. Mucarsel-Powell.
Aye.
Ms. Mucarsel-Powell votes aye. Ms. Escobar.
Aye.
Ms. Escobar votes aye. Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins votes no. Mr. Sensenbrenner. Mr. Chabot. Mr. Gomert. Mr. Jordan. Mr. Buck. Mr. Ratcliffe. Ms. Roby. Ms. Roby votes nay. Mr. Gates. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs votes no. Mr. McClintock. Mr. McClintock votes no. Ms. Lesko. Ms. Lesko votes no. Mr. Reschenthaler. Mr. Reschenthaler votes no. Mr. Klein. Mr. Klein votes no. Mr. Armstrong. Mr. Armstrong votes no. Mr. Stubbe.
Is there any member of the committee who hasn't voted who wishes to vote? Ms. Lofgren.
Ms. Lofgren? Aye. Ms. Lofgren votes aye.
Is there any other member who hasn't voted who wishes to vote? The clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, the ayes are 21, the noes are 8.
In that case, the motion to table is adopted. We return to Ms. Bass.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Whitaker, during the time that you were the executive director of the Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust, you recommended that facts called for ethics investigations into or filed complaints about the following Democratic politicians, officials, and organizations: the Democratic National Committee, Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, Speaker Pelosi, Representative Ami Bera, Huffman, Lewis. In fact, the organization actually called for an investigation into a member of this committee, Representative Hank Johnson. So that's a total of about 46 individuals or organizations that over the time period when you were the executive director of FACT, that you called for either ethics investigations or filed complaints. So since you have joined the AG's office, I want to know whether or not any investigations have been initiated into those people. And well, just answer that, yes or no. Have there been investigations initiated into the people that you suggested be investigated during the time you were the ED of FACT?
Congresswoman, I was the executive director of the Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust. We were an independent, nonpartisan ethics watchdog group. We did file ethics complaints against members of both parties.
You filed ethics complaints against Republicans. Can you tell me which Republicans you filed ethics complaints against?
All of, again, you know, I'm here for an oversight hearing. And
yes, you are. And so my
imagine.
questions are leading to that. So can you answer that? Which Republicans did you file investigation or ask for ethics investigations of?
The nice thing about being an ethics watchdog group is that FACT filed all of its complaints on its website, and I would refer you to that.
I don't have time to look into the website. I'm asking you a question now. You were the executive director. Which Republicans did you file?
Congresswoman, again, as I sit here today, all I can do is refer you to the website.
Okay, so let me just ask this. Since you have been in the DOJ, have any complaints been initiated against the 46 Democrats, either individuals or organizations, in the time that you've been the acting AG?
Congresswoman, as I sit here today, I am not aware of any, but obviously if I had recommended as the executive director of FACT that someone be investigated, and my recommendation was adopted by the Department of Justice, I'm certain that I could not be involved in that investigation.
You're certain, but you don't know whether did you recuse yourself?
You know, recusal decisions, I think this is important for everyone to understand, is recusal decisions are made based on a matter.
Let me move on. I wanted to ask questions about ethics guidance that you received in December. Did they recommend that you recuse yourself from any involvement in the criminal investigation into the World Patent Marketing, the fraudulent patent promotion scam to which you still owe almost $10,000 to the court? Did they provide an ethics opinion, or did you not seek one related to the World Patent Marketing matter?
Just to be clear, Congresswoman, who do you mean by they? Do you mean the ethics officials?
I'm asking you, what guidance did they recommend that you recuse yourself? So that's a question to you. Did they recommend that you recuse yourself from any involvement in the criminal investigation into the World Patent Marketing?
I am recused from the investigation into that company.
What about any matter involving Hillary Clinton? It's been well documented of your public calls for renewed investigations into matters related to Mrs. Clinton.
Again, any investigations into former Secretary Clinton, if they're open, confirmation or denial of a recusal would suggest that there is or is not an investigation regarding that person.
You know, I actually believe I have more time on the clock since I was interrupted.
I'm informed we paused the time.
Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
What I'm saying is your inquiry about whether or not I'm recused from any matter concerning former Secretary Clinton would by its very nature, suggest that there is an open matter regarding Secretary Clinton. Any recusal decision that I would make would be based on what the matter was, and we'd go through the exact same analysis that I went through in the case of the special counsel's investigation.
Thank you.
At the request of a number of people, the committee will stand in recess for 5 minutes.